there, my name is Tessa and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some lemon scones. I'm so excited you're here with me, and I think the first and most important step when it comes to making your scones is gathering your ingredients as well as the supplies you're going to need to make them. For these scones we have a pretty simple recipe. We're going to use some Greek yogurt, we're going to use some sugar, we need flour, we need just one egg, we're going to need some lemon juice, and we're just going to need some baking powder and baking soda. Both of those help the scones rise a little bit and makes them more fluffy and more cakey. Then some of the supplies we're going to need would include an oven mitt, because we're going to heat up our oven, which you can see behind me, and it gets really hot, and when you grab a tray out of the oven you need protection so that you don't burn your hands. We're going to need some measuring cups. Measuring cups come in a lot of sizes. We have 1 cup, we have a 1/2 cup, we have a 1/3 cup, and we have a 1/4 cup. We also are going to need some smaller measuring tools. These ones measure teaspoons and tablespoons, and then different varying amounts of those. Like this one just is a leveler, so it'll level off your teaspoon. We're going to need a pretty big bowl today because we're making a lot of scone mix. This way you can share with some friends or maybe share with your family and show them what you made. And I just have a regular spoon in order to mix all of my ingredients together. And then I have a large pan because when we stick it in the oven we want them all to bake together so that they all bake really evenly and equally. This pan is just going to be great for shaping our scones and putting them on there. Alright, are you guys ready to begin? Okay, so the first thing I always do when I'm preparing to bake something, I make sure that my oven is getting heated up to the right temperature. For these scones, we're going to heat our oven up to 350 degrees. So that takes a little while because your oven starts at room temperature. So when you set the temperature, it's going to take a little while to heat. So it's best to do that first. So by the time that your dough is ready, you are also ready to bake. So I'm going to go set that and then I'll be right back. Alright, the oven is set to 350 degrees and I just added all of our dry ingredients to a bowl. Our dry ingredients include 1.5 cups of flour, and I used this flour here. And it included 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. I added just a pinch of salt. I added 2 tablespoons of baking powder, which is the one I was talking about earlier that helps your scones get nice and fluffy. And that is all of our dry ingredients. Why I add those to a bowl first is so that you can mix them around and get it all spread out evenly before you add your wet ingredients. Alright, I think this next part is really fun. It is cracking an egg, because this ingredient calls for 1 egg. I'm just going to take the egg on the side of my bowl here, and I'm going to give it a couple light taps. Now you can see that your egg, it's cracked just a little, so I'm going to set the bowl right below the camera here so that you guys can see this. I'm going to grab up in the crack and pull it apart. And there you go. You have 1 nice egg sitting in your batter. This recipe also calls for 6 ounces of Greek yogurt. So Greek yogurt is a little bit thicker, it's higher in protein than regular yogurt, and so I'm excited that this recipe calls for that. I have this little package here that just happens to be 6 ounces exactly. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to mix it in that batter as well. The last couple things we need are lemon juice and lemon zest. So I'm going to take the lemon and squeeze them out, and then just take a little bit of the skin and put that in the batter as well. I'll be right back to you guys after I finish that. Alright guys, our batter is starting to look like this. And we have one final ingredient, which is just water, which water is something we drink every day. It's kind of weird to think it goes into our pastries we are making, but water just helps add everything together, mix it up, and makes it all really combine. So we're adding 2/3 of a cup of cold water so that nothing in here gets too warm. and I only have a 1/3 cup. I don't have a 2/3 cup, so we're just going to use 2 of them, and then we will have the perfect amount of water in there. So I'm going to fill that up right here. You'll be able to hear my water running. Here's one. I'm going to pour it in there. And here's 2. And I'm going to change the camera angle so you guys can see me mix it up here. And you're just going to mix until you no longer have the dry parts of the batter and that all of your batter is nice and sticky and combined. Something really cool about baking is sometimes you kind of have to make your own adjustments based on how you're feeling about what you're baking. And right now our dough looks pretty dry. So I think even though the recipe called for 2/3 water, I'm going to start adding water in 1 tablespoon at a time, which is a very small amount, just until the dough seems like more what I'm used to, more what a scone dough should look like. Okay, so I'm super happy with how the dough looks now. It is very sticky and you can tell that it is clumping together pretty nicely. So this next part is really fun. What you need to do is make sure that your hands are nice and clean. So I went and I washed my hands probably about 2 minutes just using soap and water. And now I get to stick my hands in the dough and form the scones. Okay, hands are all nice and clean and the dough is looking great. We are just gonna grab a bit of the dough, just a bit to fit in the middle of your hand. I know I'm getting all messy, but that's okay, that's part of baking. And we're gonna just roll that dough up into a little ball. Not too big, not too small. That's 1 scone. So I'm gonna place him on our mat we have right here. And he's just gonna sit right there as I make the rest of them. If your hands start getting too sticky, you can take some kitchen spray, which I have up here. And this kitchen spray is just full of oil, but it comes in a spray container. And I can spray it right onto my hands. Just a bit on my clean hands and spread that around. And that just helps the dough not stick to my hands as well. I also sprayed my baking pan with it. And it just makes everything not stick together. Makes it nice and neat. I'm not exactly sure how many scones this batter will make, but we're about to see. So, I'm making some more, some nice even little balls of scone mix. I'm excited because I get to share these scones with my roommates because I live with 3 other girls. And so they enjoy that I love to bake. So hopefully you guys learn to love to bake as well. And maybe you go make some lemon scones after you see how good these look. Alright, I'm going to roll the rest of these out and then I will show you when I'm done. Alright guys, my hands are a mess, but all of our scones are rolled out nicely and on a tray. It ended up making 3 rows of 4 scones each, so that's a total of 12 scones, which is awesome. That is perfect, it's just enough to share with all of my friends. And also, it used all of the batter with just 1 pan, and that's a really exciting thing in baking when all of your measurements turn out to make 1 pan, and then we just have to bake it once. So these little guys are gonna go in the oven from around 14 to 16 minutes. I'm gonna check at 14 minutes and see if they look fully cooked, and if they do, then I will take them out, but they might take around 16 minutes. I'll keep you updated. I need to check the oven to make sure how I set it to heat. It already heated, and I'm hoping it is just about ready for me to put the scones in the oven, so I will let you know. Our oven is all heated up. I'm gonna take you over there so that you can see. So our oven says, oh, it's a little blurry, but it says 350 degrees on it. So I know that it is perfect and ready for me to stick these little guys in there. So I'm gonna bring them over there, just open up the oven, knowing that it's really hot. Stick them on the top shelf there, and set my timer for 14 minutes. so the timer is set for 14 minutes, and in 14 minutes we'll get to take those guys out of there. It's gonna make my kitchen smell good, like lemon scones. While we're waiting, I want to tell you a little bit about the scones. So they actually have 3 grams of protein in them apiece, which is awesome because protein is one of those really essential things your body needs to help you stay strong and build some muscle, which is awesome. And then they also have some carbs, which is so good for you. It helps you keep your energy up, helps you stay active, which is awesome. And they're overall just super yummy, so I'm excited for them to come out of the oven. Alright guys, moment we have been waiting for. I'm super excited. I'm going to grab my oven mitt and put it on my hand to protect me from the hot oven and grab our scones because they are done. So it did just take 14 minutes. I'm going to grab my pan. And look at how beautiful. So they look great. They smell even better. So I'm very excited to share them with my friends. Alright guys, I grabbed a friend and she's going to try one of our beautiful scones and see what she thinks.
Oh, it's so soft. Ooh, it smells so good.
It smells so good. Good. Is it good? Alright, thank you guys for joining me and I'm so glad we were able to bake together today.